It's a late night, and you're not sleeping, you're jaking off. This is the Jaking Off Show, sponsored by Weed. Weed, the shit that makes you forget what the fuck your intro was. This is really just a first whack at me ranting or a podcast or some idea of me talking and getting the outer dialogue in my head. It is 2:30 in the morning, by the way. July 20th. Not July, what the fuck? It's June. Let's get my shit right. Anyhow, this isn't a pilot, this isn't an intro, this isn't even like a blueprint test. This is just wing it, jump off the cliff, see if there's a net, maybe you'll fly, maybe you won't. Anyhow, let's just jump, you know. There's a new exciting chapter in my life. A lot of things are changing. About a couple weeks prior to this recording, I was in between jobs, and I had put my 2 weeks in at this well-known frozen yogurt establishment that I was working at for 4 years. And to be frankly honest, I got tired of it. So I had to move on. And, I was out of work for 3 weeks, and I was just kind of jumping, going, what am I going to do? I have some extra time. I have, I basically took 3 weeks off, so I slept a lot. That's why you pursue your dreams, right? But, yeah, I found another job. I'm a sushi chef at Benihana, which is nice for now. It's way different from the other job. It's basically just, rolling sushi for people and making it look nice. And to be honest, I thought it was going to be a lot harder. And it's not. It's actually pretty easy. The way sushi's rolled, I look at it like you're rolling a blunt. You get your seaweed out instead of a tobacco leaf. You get your seaweed out, and you put all the ingredients necessary for whatever sushi roll it is, and you just roll it. You just roll all of the stuff, the weed per se, into the seaweed, and you make it look nice and flat, and not flat, but you make sure that it's all closed up, much like how you would a blunt. And instead of lighting up the fucker and smoking it, you chop it off into little roaches, 6 to 8 pieces of roaches, let's call them that, and you lay it out, and it's easier than I thought. It's just kind of like I just got to know where things are and how to cut fish a certain way, how to fillet a fish a certain way, just putting it all together. Boiling rice, cutting avocados, I already knew how to do that. That's like almost half the ingredients right there for most California rolled sushi. But it's fun. It's actually fun. I actually like it so far. I've only been at it barely a week, but I like it. I like it. I want this podcast. This is what I'm going to call it. This podcast to be something cool. I got inspired from a really old idea, actually, from a very close friend of mine. He called me and asked if we wanted to hang out. I said, I got stuff to do. I got some housework, some laundry. I got to clean up my room a little bit, make some adjustments for my show tomorrow, and study the menu a little bit, put in some last minute tags, try them out, and see what happens. Hopefully it goes well. It'll be fun. It'll be great. Shameless plug later. But yeah, my friend, very close friend of mine, we did in middle school, we had this idea of a sketch comedy show called The Jaking Off Show, starring me, Jake Bassey. And at that time, it was a lot like an imitation of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And this is like circa 2004. So yeah, Jon Stewart was doing the show at the time. And, it was like this imitation of like a news reporter reporting current events, stuff that's going on, along with just silly ideas, silly sketches. There was one that never made it to fruition. There was it was shot too, and we didn't know anything about film or editing or any of that. We just had like a basic bare bones of it, but we had like this parody of this movie Disturbia. Now, the movie Disturbia, it's starring Shia LaBeouf, and it's kind of about this teenager that, under, a certain circumstance, no spoilers here, this movie's like fucking 15 years old or whatever, gets under house arrest, is got like an ankle bracelet, can't leave his house, and like spends his spare time like spying on the neighbors, stalking a girl that he likes, and he finds out that a neighbor is like killing people or whatever, just kind of creepy shit. And we had a parody of that, and unfortunately that never made it anywhere. But we were talking about it recently, and it inspired me to sort of start it back up again, but in a different way. I want this to be something fun. I want it to be something cool. And I want to, have guests and shit. I was listening to. I listen to comedy podcasts, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, all of these comedians that have podcasts, and they got clout, they're big, so their podcasts are big. And I figure, like, well, I should start a podcast, which is kind of like today's version of we should open a bar kind of deal. So, like, this is something that everyone is doing, and do you want to start a web series? Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, it's just something that people are doing. And I guess I want to do it too, and I want to have my own steez and all that. Just a conversation with people, and if I can't get people or a person, I'll get myself. Fuck it, I'll just talk about what my opinion is on something that I'm paying attention to, or sport ball, or politics, or what have you. And I'd want to travel, not travel like, let's go on a plane. I don't have a lot of equipment here. I have a laptop and a microphone, and I want to get a second one and a second stand. And I kind of want to travel light, and because my place is kind of a mess. There's no real place to have in mind. I can't really drop money on a studio. I don't know, thinking out loud, and I have a notebook in front of me. I'm just jotting little ideas down, and maybe I'd go to my gym and set up equipment, and if the owner of the gym would allow it, just talk for half an hour about, that place of business, or talk to friends of mine that are artists, musicians, actors, comics, not even big people, just to have a conversation of like what it's like living in LA, and, other people's experience and all of that. I should really have set a timer to this. Well, there's no real learning curve here, right? No real learning curve at all. I'm just kind of doing this as I go. Yeah, next time I should definitely have a stopwatch, because I don't really have a time. Oh no, there actually is a little audio position time editor. I've been ranting for 8 minutes. Well, that's something. Only 8 minutes in. How long do I want this podcast to be? Do I want it to be a half hour? Do I want it to be 45 minutes? And if I'm going solo, do I really want to talk this much for this amount of time? I don't know. This is really just hitting me today. And what is the Jaking Off Show? I wrote down an intro that I read at the very beginning, like, it's late night. If you're not sleeping, you're jaking off. Like, it's funny, And it is very late, and my roommate's sleeping, and I don't even know if you can hear, like, the TV on, but she likes to sleep with the TV on, and if I turn it off, she'll wake up. Yeah, I've got a roommate. And I said she. No, I'm not fucking my roommate. It's actually someone I've known for a very long time. She's older and all that. I've known her since I was like 8 years old. She's basically more or less my aunt, per se. But, I'm just in my room thinking, is this a good idea? Should I do this? I'm going to look back on this and go, hey, this was the very first thing that I did. And maybe there'll be a lot more. I want to follow through on this. My heart and soul is in this. Not podcasting, but comedy. Comedy, more or less. It's, it's like pulling teeth to get people to a show. Now, I'm no big shot. I'm nobody in this big lake we call Los Angeles. This big, what is it? Small fish in a big pond, or whatever. I don't know. AC's going off again. Why do we need the AC on? You can't sleep with that on either. Why am I doing this? Am I falling into a category where this is what everybody else is doing, so people talk about like nerd shit or specific thing of interest? It's just me. It's just me ranting alone in the middle of the night. Where was I? Must be the weed talking. Kind of lost my place. How long do I want this to be? What do I want to do? Pursue your dreams. That's why I sleep a lot. Said that already. There's no take two. There's no take two. That's going to be another cool thing that I have learned in theater. There's no take two in live theater. I guess it's the same thing for live podcasting, maybe. This is something that I can do. And it's content. I was inspired to do this by, close friend of mine. Where the name came from. It's like, we're just jerking off, we're just shooting the shit. And that's kind of what this is right now, just shooting the shit. If you're not asleep, you're jerking off. That's a good idea. I like it. I think I might keep that. Let's put a little circle around that. Put a little parenthetical. I want to do a parenthetical. That's much better. Ugh. Wow. I should really have more energy when I do this. Maybe not do this in the middle of the night. But, that kind of ruins the one joke that I have on this so far. Yeah. And if you want to have guests in the middle of the night, they shouldn't designate it to one thing. Have like a mini fridge if I have someone over with some drinks available. I want to be a hospitality. I want it to be like, not like this big studio and all that, but I want, if and when I have a guest, I'd want them to be comfortable. But that's why traveling would be a good idea, is that all I have is a laptop and one microphone, got to get two, and just, go somewhere where I could just have a conversation with someone. We just shoot the shit for a half an hour, 45 minutes. Shamelessly plug or promote, whatever stuff's going on, and for the most part, just talking. I have a lot of people in mind. I have a huge list of people in mind, and I'm just writing it down as I go. You can hit up my friend Marlon, who's a filmmaker. You can hit up Greg, who's a musician, also a former coworker of mine. He's a cool dude. We could talk forever. Just people that I could spend some good quality time with. Just have a gay old time. We'll swirl our wine glasses and be classy and have ice cream or what have you. Maybe family. Maybe I could have my brother on, talk about our nerd shit, our anime shit, and this can go multi-subject. I could talk to the owner at the gym. Go into fitness and healthy lifestyle and cryotherapy, and that's all important. And that's such a Joe Rogan thing too. Is that I don't want to like, imitate, which is a form of flattery. But I don't want to, hit the nail on the head so hard. I want my own steez. I want to do my own thing. But, perhaps to find my own voice, what comedians will do is that some comedians, when they first start out, and I'm just first starting out too, but I've learned that in the 6-7 months that I've officially restarted, and that's a whole other topic for another time, is how I first initially got into comedy. Is that, not copy someone's act, but sort of imitate a cadence or how a story is told or how it's done stylistically. What type of comedy do I want to do? You want to try? I tried, a couple of different styles in order to find my own voice. I spend a lot of time sitting on the stool. I don't really do a whole lot of physical movement in my act per se. I'll get up off the stool and I'll do some shitty Fortnite dance with the bit that I have on encountering hyperactive, small, annoying children. But I'm not so physical, but I'm still high energy because I want to have the high energy of like a Robin Williams type or a Sebastian type, but I want to have the chillness and the funny storytellingness of, say, Mark Maron or Joey Diaz or whoever. But those are just to name a few on who my personal favorites are in terms of like, and they're not even, and the guys that I mentioned, they're not even the funniest dudes. Like, guys like Patton Oswalt, like that guy's like a crazy, he's a class all his own, but and his style is so him, but I'm not him. I'm imitating him to see if there's a piece of me in there, not Oswald per se, but like, maybe some of the other guys I listed, and I'm studying and I'm analyzing and I'm sort of learning to keep the sword sharp on my wit. And there's no excuse. Getting back into this was so important to me. But sacrifices need to be made. Part of that sacrifice is sort of my social life. That being on stage is my networking, is my hangout time. Certainly after a show, I'd want to, hang out, talk to some people, maybe, catch up with some friends that I've asked to go, if they go. Like I said before, it's like pulling teeth to get someone to come to a show. And, like, I get frustrated. I shouldn't take it personal. I really should not take it personal. I've been told from people like, oh, I'll go with the group. I'll come to a show. And they don't show. And I'm just like, oh, man, you're an asshole. Follow through on what you said you were going to do. But, I don't know that I don't keep tabs on people that much. I don't know. I'm not a fly on the wall in someone's personal life. Maybe something happened. Maybe there's work, other things that are outside of our control. And that I shouldn't take it personally. And that's just like people have their own steez, And I was in a band for a minute in my younger 20s. I was in a band for a little while. And that was the same thing, just like, oh, come out to the show, have a good time. And like barely anyone would show up, if you're an opening band for some bigger band on tour, or if it's just a local show or whatever, you're playing a show at the Cobalt Cafe and no one's there, and you got a 8-person mosh pit where you're more likely to get hurt because there's no sponge full of people there. That's a bad analogy, but there's nothing new. It's all part of the game. And it does get depressing when you perform in front of no one. But that's gonna happen. From the podcasts that I've been listening to, this whole going on the road thing and all that. Well-known guys will play at a bar in the middle of nowhere, and the patrons won't even know that it's comedy night at the bar. And, even though you do the show and all that, you got to move on to the next town, and hopefully you crush the next one, or whatever you killed, like the journey of it. And I'm barely dipping my toe in the kiddie pool. This is going to be an exciting road, man. I'm going to like it. I'm going to like it, and this is my destiny. I've manifested it in my mind. I've done mantras, and nothing can stop me. Only I can stop me. And I kind of pussyfooted this last year. Because last year I was like, oh, I'll get back into comedy again. It's been like 10 years since I had last did it. But like I said, something for another time. I kind of pussyfooted it last time. I got sick. I got really sick. Just drinking a lot, eating a lot of junk food, and just not taking care of myself. And I developed a bowel disease which to be later diagnosed as ulcerative colitis. For 6 months of this, I was like, man, I'm not shitting right. I'm not holding in any nutrients. I'm losing weight. I'm still depressed and drinking and just getting fucked up all the time, and my body's starting to shut down. I lost a lot of weight. I was kind of teetering on the edge of life. I was sick, very sick, and I was afraid to leave my house because I just kept using the bathroom so much. It was just so awful, and it curbed me from doing what I want to do. And it was just work the day job, sleep, you know, go on bad dates. Sometimes I won't even leave the house for days on end, just watch movies and YouTube all day, having energy drinks and being all amped up and going nowhere, and those are bad too. That's a fucking nightmare. I gotta stop those. It's kind of like cigarettes, addiction wise, because I would drink these energy drinks and they would just that it's probably a factor of how I got so fucked up with my my micro gut biome, or whatever it's called, like my antibodies are like attacking regenerative cells that are repairing damaged tissue, and the little army inside of me thinks that that's bad bacteria when it's actually good bacteria. My body's all confused. It doesn't know what to do. It's just kind of went like, oh, this seems off. Let's destroy it. No, it's actually not off, Observe. And be more tactical about this. I don't know. I can't control genetics. Because I guess my mom had this for a while. My mom told me that she got diagnosed. Not diagnosed, I don't even know. I don't even remember. This was a conversation that we had a long time ago. But like right before she got, like a couple years before she got pregnant with me, she was just having diarrhea all the time. And just like IBS, despite eating healthy or changing her diet, like nothing changed, no probiotics or whatever. And when she got pregnant with me, symptoms just completely disappeared. And she never had problems again until recently. So if we have the same thing or something similar to that, I can make this problem go away for a long time. Or I can just find a nice man, get pregnant, Nope, don't have that luxury. I'm a guy. But yeah, I pussyfooted out of comedy because I got that problem and it was really depressing, and I was afraid to leave. Couldn't be social, couldn't do anything. But now my path is clear. I know what I'm supposed to do, and that's to do what makes you happy. And that's talking shit on stage, making people laugh, doing this, reaching out, just finding happiness. It's not about the money. The money will come later. And that's not even important. It's really not. It's just, money's just a middle, it's just another step to get to something else. That's all it really is. It's just another step. And it's an illusion that, you need so much to get around. You want to maintain your life. You want to live, have a roof over your head. There's always going to be bills to pay. That's never going to go away. No matter how much money you make. There's always, rich or poor. We all have a few of the same problems. And that's, just paying your bills. It's easier for some than others. But we're all alive. And we're all breathing the same air. We're all on the same planet. We're not that different. Just money and the hand we're dealt in life separates us. And I'm trying to look past that. I'm trying to be more calm. I'm trying to be more accepting of, differences, especially political ones. Oh my God. Another very close friend of mine. We're opposites on the political spectrum, but that doesn't change our relationship. That doesn't, you know, blood is thicker than water, but blood, in a homey sense, in like a friend sense, the bond of your friendship is stronger than what your other friend believes. Like, close friend's a Trump supporter, loves him. I'm not on that team, man. I don't play for that team. I'm pretty left leaning. We just don't get into it. And if we do get into it, we find a truth in the middle. And the president's just one example of a few examples. It's always important to debate and find truth in the middle. And there's your wisdom. There's your wisdom. We just came to climax. We jaked off, and all the internal dialogue can be put away, and I can go to bed and prepare for tomorrow. What's tomorrow? What's going on, man? Yeah, you got work, you got a show, and you got other creative endeavors. Yeah, you got work, you got a show, you got your routine, you got to work out, and make some people laugh and hopefully get some sleep and do it all over again. No breaks. Yeah, no, of course breaks. Rest is important. But yeah, that's tomorrow, or today rather. It's very late. But yeah, we came to climax. This was the Jaking Off show. Now you can go to sleep and hopefully cuddle next to your spouse, girlfriend, your boyfriend, or do something fun, or just go to sleep. All right, signing off. I guess that's the end of it.